DubaiEye103.8.
The UAE's #1 talk radio station.
You are tuned into a very energetic show of the Reboot this Sunday. We're having a lot of fun in the studio. And listen, this is something that Dan and Zina are both very, very excited about. I'm apparently going to be sold on this idea, so I'm open-minded. But if you're tired of waiting in line and giving up your Emirates ID every single time you need to enter a new building to get into a business meeting, well,
there's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
There is an app for that.
and that's what we're finding out about right now. It's called MyGatePass, and we have CEO Adil Bahush in studio with us, as well as commercial and marketing director of MyGatePass, Yahya Kabara. Adil, Yahya, thank you so much for joining us in studio today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Start off, tell us a little bit about MyGatePass. Give us the elevator pitch. What exactly can your app do?
Well, MyGatePass is the way to enter facilities for external visitors. So I was frustrated as a visitor myself, going into buildings, visiting friends in Dubai. Every time the security guard is asking you, give me your Emirates ID, give me your phone number. And this is something that I've identified as a reoccurring process every time. So MyGatePass is here to solve that problem. It's integrated with UAE Pass. For a lot of the residents in the UAE, they know about it. So you just register once, you have one app, one profile, and you can enter any facility.
Anything that's directly going to connect with your UAE Pass is, for me, raising security alarm bells. How do you keep this data safe if you're connecting directly to such a critical sort of piece of information or piece of data? How do you keep it safe from hackers?
Well, it's definitely the privacy concerns are there. So we build this in compliance with GDPR, with PDPL. We've built it on the Azure cloud. The Azure cloud invests $20 billion over 5 years in cybersecurity. So we want it to be as secure as possible. And this is the reason why we're doing that. Right now, if you see the traditional way, where security guards are writing down your personal information, your phone numbers on paper logs, well, where is that going, right?
Dan got really upset about this earlier.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was just telling them earlier that I have a fake phone number that I keep memorized just for this, and I convince them to take my license number instead of my Emirates ID. But then what I want to know is, where is all that data stored? Even though I understand that you've used all standards and regulation, where is that data actually stored?
It's stored here in the UAE.
Here in the UAE.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
And who is this for? Because again, we were mentioning this earlier, Zina and Dan really excited about it, but I just think, okay, I go to these meetings once in a while. It's not a big hassle to me to, go give them some of my information.
I do want to partially answer that because, yes, you yourself, you go to meetings once in a while. I had to take a freelance job and I was required to go to that building, go to that office every single day for 2 months. And every single day, even though the security guard knows me, I'm not a thief, and I'm going to hack into the building servers, they still... they're still obliged to get my Emirates ID, give me a pass, the pass beeps, I go through, and it was very time consuming. And in the morning at 9 a.m., there's a queue of people. I'm like the 30th that has to submit their Emirates ID. So this one's for me, I think.
And how does it work? So Zina gets your app. She has her phone. She just swipes straight through the security system because there are different systems in every building.
Exactly. So from the visitor perspective, they just download the app. They register to UAE Pass. It's like a 10-second, actually explaining it's longer than the activity itself of registering. So once you have it, you get a personal QR code. That QR code is, it's generated for that specific entry. You just show it, they scan it, and you enter. That's easy as that.
The entire time is less than 5 seconds, actually. By the time you open the app, the QR code generated, you get scanned, and you're in. So it's streamlining a lot of that wait time that Zina is talking about. Making things just easier and more seamless and so on.
I did have a period of time, Zina, when I was going to like a workspace in a JLT building every single day, and I did have to go through that. Never felt that big of a hassle to me, but I can understand how some people maybe just wouldn't want to do that every single day if you're just going into what you're considering your office at that period of time. Who's paying for this? I imagine it, you've talked about a lot of security. I'm sure some of these systems are expensive to build out and to build the entire ecosystem around this. So is it building management that are paying to have you get involved, or is it individuals to have the privilege?
Definitely, it's the building management. So the way we look at it is that we want to make people's lives easier, and that is reducing costs and reducing wait times, making things easier and more seamless to them, right? So the building management, they care about the security in the premises. It's their responsibility to have the security person at the gate with the processes and so on. And then this is part of their responsibility. And it's not only for business related buildings, it's also schools, could be hospitals, could be literally any gate, even an event. Usually, sometimes they ask you for a QR code. So the possibilities is seamless to it. If you really think of it, it's a QR code tied to your Emirates ID, right? So whatever location that requires, or a gate that requires you to give that information, this is it.
And for an event, I mean, that's a big kind of use case that you can think of. For events especially, how is this going to save costs for anybody who decides to use the system, whether it's a building management? Are you replacing security guards? Are you replacing those people who are scanning your QR code at entry? What exactly is this replacing?
It depends really on the use case. So in some cases, the high-profile buildings, they have security in place, they have processes, so it will integrate seamlessly with their process. In other cases, for example, events is actually a good example, because you'll have events that are ticketed, like you pay for a specific ticket and they have your information because you've purchased it. And there's a lot of free events that just want to know the demographics of people, visiting that event. For those use cases, it just, scan your QR code and you have all of that information without, having them to register.
Now, Yahya, you're the commercial director. You're in charge of convincing these building management people, developers to adopt the app. So how has the feedback been? Are they interested, and do you have any takers at the moment?
Definitely. I mean, the interest is definitely there. They are able to see, everyone who we pitch the app to is able to see the benefits of it and what can it do. Even so, people more in the higher up in the organizations are able to see even where can this lead to and how this could benefit the entire economy. On that note, actually, Adel was working some numbers. Do you want to share the numbers, Adel?
Yeah, we were doing a small calculation. We thought, let's say if we have a 7 million people workforce in the UAE, for example, if we could just reduce 1 minute a day for each one, that's like enormous. In a year time, that would be 30 million hours saved, which leads to increased productivity, increased well-being, time spent on other things that could help the country in general. So
the question I had was, you mentioned a whole bunch of data that can be the demographics, for example, you said. Does that mean that every time I use the app, all that particular data goes to the required business or building or whatever? So, for example, let's assume there are 10 pieces of data that come out of your QR code. Are all 10 going to every single business every time?
It depends on the facility. So some facility will require more information than others. Some people just need your phone number and your name, for example, and they can opt for that. What is, I think, a difference is that you as a visitor know who is getting your data and what data they're getting.
Let me rephrase my question. If I walk in, will you tell me, okay, I walked into a park and there's an event and they're using your service. Will you tell me that this park, you scan the QR code and now they have your name, they have your email, they have your phone number? Will there be a permission at that point? Or it's just that I used your app, so all that information is theirs to take? Do you see the question I'm asking?
So whenever you have the app, you are consensually showing your QR code to be scanned. So you're allowing them to keep your record, right? But the difference is that currently you don't know which buildings you've been to last week, right? Today, with MyGatePass, you are able to go open your app, you can see all the view history, and you can actually see all the buildings that's keeping track of that kept your log entry. So for the change, and going back to GDPR and PDPL and so on, if you're leaving the country for good, you can actually go to your profile and delete it. And you can delete all those visitor logs.
And they lose the information when I delete it?
After some time, yes.
After
for
some
security
time.
reasons.
What is some time? Just as an idea, roughly.
It's max 6 months. Max 6 months. Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in, telling us a little bit more about this. That's the voice there of Adel Bouhouch, the founder and CEO of MyGatePass, and Yahya Kabar, who's commercial and marketing director. So great to have you guys in.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us, guys. Very exciting.
And thanks to you, Dan. I'm finally saying goodbye. I finally remembered. I always forget to say goodbye. Thanks so much for coming in. In fact, there's a nice message that's come in from Finn saying, always love this show. Dan should go into technology design.
For now, just follow me on socials.
Quite a compliment. Exactly. You can follow Dan on Dan Talks.
Sonal, we didn't know. Are you going to download the app now or not?
You
Are
know
you
what?
convinced?
I might be. I'm going to think
There you
about it.
go.
I don't enter very many buildings, but if I need to,
Great to
I
know.
will consider it. For
We're happy
sure.
with that. We're happy with that.
All right, keep your messages coming in on 4001 because we're moving to a big topic up next. We're getting a bit existential, Zena. We're talking
true.
about, is AI going to take our jobs? But we've got some incredible experts to really give us the nuts and bolts behind this, some of the stats, some of the trends, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Stay tuned to the Reboot. We've got so much more coming up on DubaiEye103.8, and you can always get in touch on 4001. We'd love to hear from you.